Hello and welcome to One-on-One Shots with B. Dave Walters and the man himself, the uniter of anarchs, the slayer of lupines, Papa Potence himself, Luis Carazo. I appreciate how quickly you just turned red, by the way.
I know, dude. It's very easy. Now that you call attention to it, it's going to get like even brighter red.
Well, thank you all for tuning in. That's all I wanted. Literally, the only thing I needed, it just happened.
We're done.
Yeah, pull the plug QueueTimes. Thanks everybody for coming.
Oh, geez, and it's just going to keep getting better.
Yeah, no, zone of safety. Hey, I'm distracting. This is my distraction dance. So thank you all for tuning in. Again, One-on-One Shots. This is when I sit down with my friends. We just chat about them, their life, their career, how they got into gaming, and we play a little bit. And today we are going to be, even though you might know Luis from his masterful appearances on LA by Night, today we're actually going to be playing a little bit of D&D.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to ask you two questions, good sir.
Okay.
Besides the obvious LA by Night, where people might know you from, and who you're going to be playing today.
All right. So I'm actually, LA by Night, Nines Rodriguez, which was my first foray into this kind of world. Since then, I'm on a new show called Endymion's Gate that has some people that are familiar faces from LA by Night. So that's really cool. And it's been a lot of fun to work on that. Different system, different world. It's on a spaceship. And it is really about like fraught relationships and reconciling and working your way through that. It's really been a blast. Aside from that, I've done commercials and TV, and the last thing I did was a guest star on NCIS that aired a couple of months ago, and then I'm going to be on this season finale of SWAT, which airs next Wednesday, the 20th. So if anybody cares to see that, you'll see me playing the head of a drug cartel. How about that?
Wow. Well, congratulations on that, man. I
want to be the head of a drug cartel.
Again, purely fictitiously to our NSA monitoring overlords, purely fictitiously.
Yes.
Right. Also, vampires aren't real. Yeah, man. Congratulations. I think, one, to make sure that I fully hype Endymion's Gate. It's Scattered Rollers. It is Luis Carazo, Ash Minnick, whose birthday is today as of the time of this recording. Happy birthday, Moonclad Ash. Becca Scott, Xander Jeanneray. Who am I forgetting? There's like a call on there.
And Alejandra.
Yes.
Abria Iyengar and Alejandra Cejudo.
Yes, Alejandra, my daughter from the last time that we played Hill Folk together, because it is sort of a reskin of Hill Folk, but Keith Baker's was
Dreamscape.
Yeah. Dreamscape, yeah, it's a lot. It's a ambitious project you guys have taken on, but it's dope.
It is. It is quite ambitious, but now I find that I'm like a little addicted to it, which says something about me, I think. But it's been exciting. So hopefully people can check it out.
3 or 4 episodes.
We're 3 episodes. 3 episodes have aired. Yeah. So this season is intended to have 6 episodes. So we're right on the halfway mark. And that airs on Wednesdays on Scabby Rooster's Twitch channel.
7:30. Yeah. So that's Wednesdays can be all packed in. You got Denver by Night here on QueueTimes from 5 to 7. Then you jump over to Scabby Rooster, support our friends doing the thing that they're doing.
And then SWAT.
Yeah, just make a night out of it.
Yes, yeah, right.
Right. Have all the monitors on and DVR things. Actually, let me ask you about that, about your career before we dive too deeply into the game part of it.
Sure.
You say that being cast to be head of a drug cartel. Let me ask you, do you ever feel responsible, or how do you feel as a man of color about taking on those sorts of roles? Because I know how I feel about it, and I have a lot of friends that have a lot of different opinions. So let me just ask you, when that script comes across your desk, head of the drug cartel, like kind of what goes through your mind?
Well, when I see the breakdown, there is a little bit of like this thing again kind of a thing. And luckily, I do have enough stuff that has substance to it. So I feel like it helps me kind of balance it out. Um, so yeah, there's always like an inner kind of conversation where you're like, am I what is this saying? Do I really want to put this out there? But um, it's network television, blah blah blah. The uh, but then there's like the inner child in me that likes to play pretend, and I want to be like badass, like crazy bad guys. I want to be able to do that. Then also if there is a scene or an exchange in there that has something to it, then it helps me get past that. But I have done drug cartel. Believe it or not, I go out for drug cartel kind of guys a lot. And there's sometimes I can, it's cool. The material is okay and I can get through it. And maybe I had just come off of something that I had a lot more, that was a different kind of role. So it allows me to jump into that more easily. And sometimes I'm like, this crap. But one of the things that I hear people saying a lot is, look, work helps you get the next job and the next one and the next one. And hopefully at some point you'll be in a position where you can have a little bit more say about how certain types of people are portrayed. But there is, in SWAT, there is more to me. There's more to the character than just that. And there's a moment in there where something is definitely revealed. So that definitely helps. But
I mean, it is show business. Actually, let me say this before I forget. For those of you guys in chat, if you get some questions for Luis, just put the word question in all caps ahead of it. We'll try and pull it out when we can. Worst case, when we take a little break, I'll go through and I'll read them all, and anything we haven't covered, I'll probably hit up after the break. But yeah, just write question in all caps in front of it if you have something for him there. Yeah, I mean, again, at the end of the day, it is show business. I mean, I personally am of the philosophical opinion that a gig is a gig. I feel way more responsibility in things that I help create. So if I'm writing something or producing something, like even I've talked about this before, in the development of Victor, I knew I wanted him to be a Ventru. So I knew I wanted him to be a successful businessman, but I knew as a black guy, I didn't want to do anything with drugs or crime. Like I wanted to steer so clear away from that trope. Sports, hip hop, that I didn't mind because I don't feel bad about those things. But it was like very important to me that it's like, no, he made his money legitimately.
Yes.
I'm
glad that, and it's an interesting thing where you have to, those are questions that come in mind that you have to think about, and great. I'm glad you did. And Victor's freaking awesome, dude. I love the way I'm going to flip this on you. I want to talk about you. You're so much fun I remember the first day that I was like, I'm showing up on LA by Night. And then you guys just like all welcomed me and made it as easy as it could be. And a lot of it was because I was just following your lead. You guys, like, your Victor Temple is so compelling and fun to watch, and so it sucks me in right next to you. It's so thank you for extending your generosity in front of the camera like that. It's really nice.
I appreciate that. I'm like, no, you stop it. No, you're great. Stop. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's I think a lot of times when people aren't necessarily, I don't want to say marginalized groups because I feel like that sounds like I'm marginalizing our groups, but I mean, I don't know what's a more careful subsections. A lot of times what we do is representative of all of us,
right?
In a way that some other groups, what they do, aren't representative of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
That makes complete sense. Yeah.
So
something you get asked like, how come you guys all why
Right.
is it that you know? And then I'm like, wow, I'm the spokesperson for that, all that.
Yeah. Here we are. I didn't realize I was wearing my jersey now. But what is your actual background? Your family, your ethnic cultural derivation, like.
That we can like spend a lot of time. So I was born in Cartagena, Colombia, which is on the Caribbean coast of Colombia. So
Also,
kind
can
of
I just say, when you just say it like that, that's why you book those gigs. You just say it, and they're like, "He's done. There's our guy. We got it. Wait, we're out."
I mean, I don't mind that. There's a lot of, anyways, I'm not going to get into too much of that. There's a lot of ways that you can lean into that have served me well, personally and professionally. So I digress. Then my family came to the U.S. when I was like 3 years old. So we went from Colombia to Riverside, California, and I grew up in the 909, which is now the 951. It's been the 951 for a long time. And uh, English is my second language. I'm my fourth grade teacher. His daughter went to high school with me, and we did theater. We did drama together. And I remember him coming to see us in one of our plays, and he was so shocked because my accent had changed so much since when he had me in elementary school. And I was like, "What do you mean, what accent?" I didn't know I had an accent because how you don't know you have an accent until people point that out to you. But I guess over the course of time, and then going to acting school, they teach you to have more facility with your speech. So it's become what you hear now. But then depending on who I'm around, stuff starts to come back in. Um, so yeah, I'm a dual citizen of Colombia and the U.S. and I go back pretty regularly. I was supposed to go back this summer for a cousin's wedding, but that's not happening.
Even though you moved here when you were 3, you still have like the strong connections to the old country, huh?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. My parents would not stand for anything else. But also, like I'm fascinated by how people end up where they end up. Like in terms of bigger picture, kind of just the migrations of people and what those the things that we carry with us in terms of stories too. Like the mythologies that we carry with us, the things that we identify with strongly, and then the things that we let go of. Some things eat more easily than others when we're in a new place, so that we kind of become a hybrid of many different things. And that's one of the reasons why I like traveling, and one of the reasons why I am. Oftentimes, I love hearing people's stories of where they've come from and where how they ended up right here face to face with me. And to me, in the long run, the more we share those kinds of stories, it helps us understand that how universal they are anyway. Someone's journey on paper may look so different from another person's, but then when you start to talk about the heart of the matter and what that journey meant and those kinds of things, and you realize that most of the time, many of us have been on the same version of the same journey. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that your family kept that connection because I don't know. To me, I find both ends of the spectrum are kind of negative in the sense when people move to a new country, not necessarily just coming here to America, but anyone leaving country A for country B, when they arrive in the second place and all they do is try and create a bubble of the first place.
right,
And it, like, that's bad because I'm like, well, why did you go there if you didn't
right,
intend to participate at all? But the flip side of that, though, is you go there and completely jettison everything else, and don't teach the kids the old language and don't let them know where they're coming from, and only try and integrate them. Because I have a lot of friends, and I think some cultures prize that more than others, of course. But it's like I think. Again, we are a product of our history and our upbringing, and like you said, our stories and our mythology, and it makes us stronger to be able to like integrate all of that and draw on that in our life's
yeah,
experiences.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So let me ask, since we are ostensibly here, talking about gaming as we weave in and out of these other things,
Right.
how'd you get into game? What was the first game Not necessarily video game, unless you want to talk about that.
Yeah.
What's your earliest memory of tabletop?
So a cousin of mine who's much older, I remember playing. He's who first introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons, and this was, man, maybe 25, 30 years ago. I was a kid. I was a young kid, and it's one of my. I have a very early memory of us just playing. He was obsessed with it, and he just wanted to play that all the time with his friends, and I always wanted to play it. So I'm like, I remember being like 6 years old, and he just guided me on some adventure, and it was all theater of the mind, and it was fascinating. I didn't know what I was doing, but that was my first exposure to it. Um, and I've always loved uh, fantasy stuff. I love dragons. I love magic, and I remember when I was really young, there was some channel at like 5 in the morning that was playing the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon on repeat. And I would try to wake up Saturday mornings to try to catch that every now and then. Um, but it was in high school with a group of friends that I started to play it on for real. And it was there was a group of dudes, high school dudes, who all played it like, you're in the way it always, like 16-year-old boys are like, you're in a bar, this guy's being a jerk, let's fight him. And I was like, yeah. And then one of the guys brought his girlfriend into the group. And in high school, she was like, she went into college as a creative writing major. Karen, her name, and she wanted to run a session, and she created this like totally epic story that she called it like the Seeker Saga. And we were like 16 years old, and we really dove into this. And it was really powerful to do that, especially at that time in my life. And I've always wanted to keep anchored into that kind of storytelling since then. So then I went to college and didn't play, and then the next group that I played with after that were the people that basically got us in front of each other.
Let's shamelessly name drop. Actually, you know what? Hang on. It's a pregnant pause with the shameless name dropping, because I have one question before that.
Yes.
How do you think those early experiences with role playing, from your infant make believe, when you were young, to all the way there in high school when you're really starting to figure out which way you were going, how do you think those things affected your desire to pursue acting?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I think that it didn't have a direct influence on it. The reason why I'm an actor right now is because in high school, someone who was friends in that same friend group, so I guess it is more related than I think, said that I should I should take the drama class because it was an easy A. And I was like, easy A? I want an easy A. So my junior year, I joined the drama club. However, there is, I think, the improv skills and the muscles that your imaginative muscles, that is, I think every creative person or anyone that is interested in creativity at all should play tabletop role-playing games. But even beyond that, how it informed me in terms of my creativity and acting, it like was such a boost to my self-esteem. Like, you really, I think everybody should. There's a couple things that I think everybody should do. I think everybody should be a server at some point in their life so that they can be nicer to servers. If we ever get back to that, I think everybody should play tabletop role-playing games and know what it's like to dive into a hero or an anti-hero or someone who is and story your way through fraught relationships. And I mean, I describe to my non-gamer friends, I say to them, imagine that there's a great evil in the world that's threatening you and everything you care about, and you and a couple of other people that are the only things that can stand in the way of that. What are you going to do? And that usually is when I say it like that, they're like, oh, I would totally watch that TV show. And I'm like, no, you're not watching the TV show. You're in the TV show. So you're not passively consuming that entertainment. You get to jump into it. So I feel like, yeah, it definitely has influenced my creativity, and the it expanded my imagination and those muscles. But man, I think more importantly, I feel like it constantly challenges me to expand my empathy and my humanity, um, and that I think is part of what makes us human. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with everything you said there, and it's funny that
feel
this.
free to tell me to shut up when I'm like on too much of a soapbox. Like, cut me
No,
off.
this is what we're here for, please. Like, no, I mean, no, we'll give you the Charles Foster Kane upshot. You know, like when Orson Welles had to drill a hole into the ground to lower the camera to get the right shot.
I can just,
No, that's why we're here. Yeah, no, it's interesting that I find, obviously, stories are different, of course, but I find a recurring theme of right around 17ish getting very serious about gaming and getting very serious around a creative endeavor around the same time.
yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
for me, it was writing. I'd been playing since I was 13, but I got serious about, and I guess I've been telling stories my whole life. Like I have things I wrote when I was like 5 and 6, but really embracing the idea of creating worlds.
Yeah.
What it is, it's creating worlds. And then again, not just stories that you observe, but stories that you live, which I say again and again, and will continue saying that is why video games will never completely replace tabletop. And I love video games, but the total immersion of no matter how open world a game gets, no matter how good AI gets, it is never going to be a place where you're like, I walk down the street and I push that guy in front of the cab. And when the cabbie gets out, I jump in the car and I steal the cab and then I drive to Cleveland.
Yeah. Complete agency. There's nothing limited by only the confines of your imagination.
Now, to reward the patience of our audience, let us move to the shameless name dropping section of the show, because not everybody knows that it's like that. It's because of the people you knew behind the scenes is how you got on LA by Night in the first place. So who was that group you played with? How did you fall in with that band of misfits?
So Matt Mercer, Taliesin, Marisha, and then a couple other people that used to game with us, Chloe and Brian. And Sean Manzano, who's he's like moved to Georgia, and he was like in science or something not very smart. But yeah, like I went to acting school with a woman named Laura. Her husband Zach knew Matt Mercer. They were in voiceover. They were in the video game voiceover world. Zach and I talked about Dungeons and Dragons all the time. He told me when I finished school and was moving to LA. He said, "Hey, we're going to start a campaign. Do you want to join?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Heck yeah!" I met Matt and that crew, and Matt Mercer and Zach Hanks. They co-ran it. It was the only time I had co-DMs, and I've never had it since. And they worked so well together. They created such a rich world and rich NPCs, and they worked together really well. And the most terrible thing was there's moments when when the party splits up, and then you actually split up the party in real time. Like there was one session where Talison's character were fighting priests of Asmodeus, like you always end up fighting, or
the
being.
Secret is you don't fight them, you just give in.
You just give in. No, what is that? What this is? You've tricked me, and I fell for it. And so then the portal opens up and it gets sucked through it, which is what happened to Talison's character. Taliesin got sucked through a portal, and then Chloe jumped in after him to try to save him. And then Zach, I think it was Zach or Matt, I can't remember, but one of them is like, "Okay, you two follow me." And then they took them into another room and were like, they just actually went away. What the freaking hell is going to happen? It was like so exciting. So anyways, I played with them before all the stuff that everybody knows them for, and it was one of the most compelling storytelling experiences that we still talk about and reminisce on, and we actually have some recordings of some of it somewhere, some audio recordings. But that was how I ended up meeting actually B Dave as well, because I think we played for like 2.5 years, and then we keep in touch. And then Taliesin reaches out to me out of nowhere, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to be on? I want to know if you're interested in LA by Night, basically, because the role of Nines Rodriguez came up." And then he set me up with Jason, and we met, and the rest is history, basically. But yeah, I used to play with them, and Marisha too. Marisha joined our campaign as well partway through.
Also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that it is also Marisha's birthday today. So shout out to
Oh
Marisha.
wow, right on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Happy birthday.
Our homie. Yep. I will have to hit her up later about that to say happy birthday, but got to throw it out there. Yeah, it is amazing how small of a world it is. But what's interesting about that story too, and again, I hear this come up in people's stories, is there's that moment usually when, at the risk of sounding, Joseph Campbell, the hero's journey, like it really is true. Like the call goes out. You have a chance to do a thing. Jim Zub was talking about it. It was a LARP for him, and like his friends backed out, and he was not gonna go. And then his aunt told him, "No, go." And he met all these lifelong friends. He actually ended up meeting the woman that he was going to marry sometime later because he went,
Wow.
Your buddy's like, "Hey, we're doing a D&D session. Do you want in?" You're like, "Yeah."
Yes.
Yeah. And to the greater good of all of us, So this character that you're playing today,
Yes.
is he from that campaign?
He is the character I played with them. The character I created with them. His name is Loon. And he's this was like 4th edition. This was like 2010, 2011, I think, that we played. So it was definitely before 5e. And Zach wanted, I don't remember exactly how the conversation went, but he was like, "Well, you should play a bard." And I was like, "A bard?" I had like something so against that, because I just always thought my personal, I guess, prejudice, I was like, "No, you want me to play that kind of like cheesy, like, that kind of archetype?" And I did not. It just was so not how I am and what I wanted to play. But I kind of made it my own, and with Matt and Zach, we kind of created a unique sort of character that was less of a stereotypical bard and more of a sound shaper. And we created an entire kind of, not class, but a group of people that were called amplifiers. So I specifically chose almost only buffs. So I kind of like envisioned myself almost like a mutant in X-Men or something, where there's like everyone else is the DPS, there's the wizard, and we had a ranger, and we had the dwarven fighter, and a rogue, of course, and then there was this guy kind of in the background that was just sort of like weaving something, and kind of focused on them rather than on the enemies, and just basically enhancing their abilities so much that a party of 5 became a party of like 12 in terms of potency.
I too believed that about bards for a long time, and I mean, quite frankly, it was true about bards for a long time. So much so that when 5e rolled around and people were like, "Bards are tough," I was like, "No, like, you're messing with me. They're not." And me being the min-maxer that I very much am, and when I first started getting serious about it and researching builds and everything, and it kept coming up that like bards are one of the best. Bards are one of the best. Bards are arguably strongest. I was like, and then I finally played one, and it was like, oh. And even like just last week, when Melee Damage was on with her character, that was a barbarian, so a barbarian.
Barbarian.
Same thing. She very much was like, "No, I don't want to play a bard. It's corny, it's cheesy, all this." Now I was like, "I'm telling you, the game has literally changed. Trust me, try it."
So we were doing that in 4th edition, and they gave me permission to just let it be, to bring myself to it, basically, and have the completely not gregarious, not extroverted, high charisma bard, which was, and I was thinking, I was like, it's not, performance isn't, and the way that you can inspire somebody, it doesn't always have to be loud and rambunctious and like, commanding the attention, like a true extrovert in tavern full of people. It could be just that person that walks in the room that can't help but hold your attention and expresses something in a simple way, and that is poetry. There's poetry in simplicity. So I kind of leaned into the complete opposite of Nines. Like this guy is not going to give a rousing speech at all. He's more like a quiet observer. So yes, this character is the character that I had, because when we talked, I wanted to revisit what this character might have become 10 years later, 8 years later, a little wiser, a little bit more weathered, and a lot more grown up.
Now, one of the things that I enjoy most about this, and enjoy in general, because of my Discord community and my Patreon community, I've got to play with a lot of people, and I'd like to look at like why people choose certain characters. Why they choose in vampire parlance, why certain clans, why certain sects. In D&D, why that class, why that race type thing.
Mm-hmm.
You originally wanted to do this at 6, and even when I told you we could go all the way to 12, all the way to 20, you were like 12. Like,
yeah, well, halfway.
What made you decide to stick sort of towards the lower end of the spectrum?
It is purely time management, because I am, even at level 1, creating a new character at level 1, I will spend hours. So I was like, looking at all the different combinations of abilities and feats and everything, and I was like, simply because, well, I've never played a level 20 character. Level 12 is actually the highest I've gotten, and I usually start campaigns like from level 1, and then we go. I don't remember what level our characters from 4th edition. I think we were past. I'm trying to think of like the tiers. Of like heroic tier, epic tier, and whatever the other one. We were in like more than halfway through the whole thing. Geez, I don't even remember what level. But so I just know the rabbit hole that I would fall into creating a level 20 character from scratch. And there's so much, especially with bards. Bards are so versatile that you, depending on the college that you go with at 3rd level, it just opens up so many possibilities. And I was already falling down with level 6. I was like, oh my God, I already spent like hours. And then I went back to level 12 and spent, it's fun. I love character creation. It's really exciting, but I needed to, not spend 24 hours creating a level 20 character.
It's very few people have played level 20. They say fewer than 5% of campaigns involve level 20 characters. And that's including not just ones that like made it that far, because of course it's tough to keep the group together and meet that often and play that long, or even like start higher up, like 5%, which is why that's very much my niche. That's why those are the stories I love to tell, because no one else is doing them. But it's you're right. It is a lot. It is a lot to keep track of. But let us reintroduce Loon to the world now.
Already.
All right. So you find yourself sailing across the ocean of the Moonshay Isles. It is a wonderful sunny day. The Sword Coast is just barely visible off in the far distance, and a warm wind is blowing through your hair as your boat, the Zephyr, slides along unerringly towards your destination. What does Loon look like?
So Loon is definitely on the top deck of the ship and just allowing the wind to just hit his face. And he's listening to, that sound that the wind makes as it kind of like enters your ears, that kind of like sound. And he's just like present to that. His dark hair, kind of wavy, bushy a little, and it's like blowing in the wind. He's half elf, medium-ish build. He's about 5'9", leanish, and he's wearing a cloak that has patches of greens and blues and whites, almost like a quilt. And his eyes are shut, but They're like a bright green, and he's got like dark tan skin. And he just stands there.
After a few moments, you become aware of a nearby presence of just calm that sort of washes over you in the presence of your dear friend and traveling companion. And you feel her standing there for a few moments, like she doesn't want to interrupt you. And then you just quietly hear, "Hello, hello, hey, hello,
What
hello."
is it? Yes, I'm here. I heard you the first time.
I didn't want to interrupt. You were doing the wind thing.
That's all right.
I didn't know how long the wind thing was going to last this time.
Well, I don't ever know how long it's going to last either. I didn't even know that I was doing the wind thing, but you're going to interrupt me anyway. So that's okay.
You turn around and see again your friend and traveling companion, Autumn. She is an Autumn Aladrin. She is from head to toe. Her skin, her hair, her clothes are the brilliant oranges and yellows of autumn. It's like her dress is made out of woven leaves. Her leggings almost look like they're made out of bark, and even her skin is sort of the golden orange of the setting sun that kind of transcends all the way out into her hair that curls upwards. And she's got very, very long, pointed ears, and her sword and quiver of arrows just sort of hang casually at her waist. She has been your companion through countless adventures. And she looks at you and she's like, "Are you ready for this today? This high Lady Ordolph that's calling us to a meeting. Like, she doesn't talk to anybody."
Well, I'm about as ready as I think I could ever be. But she seems like an important person. And if she's requesting an audience, then I suppose it would be prudent to take her up on her offer.
She walks and stands next to you and sort of lets the wind blow on her also. She's like, "It's a little hot, but I get it. I get the wind thing. I get the wind thing." She is a Fae queen, which normally wouldn't necessarily want to have a half elf in her presence. No offense, but I being an Eladrin am like a double elf. So maybe the averages between the two of us will like work out to your advantage. And she does give you like a tiny little elbow.
Mm-hmm. And when I first met Autumn, one of the many things that I know that endear her to me is that she reminds me of what it is to not take everything so seriously. And I recognize at first there's like a confused look on Loon's face, and then he recognizes, oh, this is we're joking. Oh, right, got it. And then attempts to elbow her back, but does it probably a little stronger than he meant to, which she probably isn't even phased by.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. She's
not so clear on how to be so open.
She just says, we don't have to keep doing this, like it's been so long. Like, we could just hang it up whenever you want. Like, I know some people. I got like Neverwinter. I'm telling you, there's some like cheap real estate right along the edge of the rift there. It's a hole and like monsters come out of it. I get it, but like, look, hear me out. We could get it cheap. And then like down on the first floor, you could run like a bar or a library or whatever it is you're into. And then upstairs, I could run like a brothel. And like, I'm telling you, like, this would work. Like, we don't have to just.
Oh, so enticing. So enticing.
She just pets the quiver. She's like, we don't have to keep doing it like this. We could just.
Autumn, I've never, ever, ever forced you to come with me. And if your heart really is calling you to run that brothel, I by no means would ever stand in your way.
Hey, man, I wouldn't be able to enjoy it if I knew you were out somewhere not getting people's jokes.
I got that one. Wait a second, that was at my expense.
I'm just saying. I just think about it. Think about it. Just but there's a lot of like books and brothels names that we could spin here. I'm telling you,
Books and
it is
brothels.
a million gold ideal.
Books and brothels. I think that is actually the name of something. It should be the name of something.
Right? OOC. It's apparently the name of this adventure is now Books and Brothels.
Books and brothels.
um, but she does sort of look off in the distance and give me a perception check, Mr. Lone.
Yes. Let me pull up my character sheet.
Let's get down to rolling them dice.
Mm-hmm. I got a. Oh, yeah. My perception is not that fantastic. 17.
As you look off in the distance, you can see an island emerging from the mist up ahead that you recognize as the Isle of Gwyneth, which is your destination. Actually, let's see, but you are a lore bard. You know things. So you can either give me history or arcana, either one of those is higher for you.
All right. Let me give you an arcana check. 19. Nope. Math is bad. 21.
I too have difficulty mathing at times. Gwyneth was the ancestral home of House Kendrick, that are ostensibly the ruling royal family of the Moonshay Isles, although their power is much diminished in recent years. They believe they'll get it all back type thing, but pretty much everybody knows like their empire's kind of collapsed. It's just more like people sort of like still pay a little bit of lip service to them as the islands increasingly just do their own thing.
I see.
On the Isle of Gwyneth in particular, they came into actual open conflict with the elves coming out of the Feywild that were led by High Lady Ordolf, who defeated House Kendrick and drove them off the island, drove them out of their own ancestral seat of power and took the whole thing over. And in fact, at one point, people were afraid that she was going to keep expanding and keep invading the other islands, but she didn't. She just sort of took this one and has held it. And it is true that many people have come and tried to open negotiations with her, and they are pretty much always turned away. What that 21 Arcana tells you is it is rumored in some circles that there is a prophecy that she must die in the mortal realm in order to save her people from an unknown calamity. So she was gone for a very long time and has returned in recent years.
And she is who is requesting our presence.
She is.
I see. Well, wow. So I see the island and all of this, like, I'm starting to recall all of these details. And I turn to Autumn and I say, Autumn, you've known me for a long time now, and you know that I will never, ever shy away from something like this. That I know that there's something out there that's greater than what we understand. And my heart's just too restless to sit in one place and conduct a brothel and read all those books. The wind and these prophecies, they need someone to go see what is really underneath that. And I know that you wouldn't leave me to my own devices anyway. So as much as you really long for the books and brothels, I doubt that you would leave my side.
She says, look, I understand about being a leaf on the wind. And she very much motions at the leaves in her hair. But she's like, but just remember, with both books and brothels, the adventure comes to you. Just think about it. Think about it. I'm going to go take a look from the crow's nest.
Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about it a little bit longer than I should. Maybe.
She's like, yeah, see, don't fight it. Just let it happen.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that before.
You see, she turns and she sort of like walks a little bit away from you and turns and looks up at the crow's nest of the ship, and she just disappears in a flash of leaves. Just they'd like come back together again up on the crow's nest. And she turns and she's like, there's a, what is that? What do they call it? A blockade when they don't let ships through?
Oh. Huh.
Yeah, I think we might need to slow down. Or don't.
Oh, where is the ship's captain? Or am I the one who's steering this?
Yes, the Zephyr is it is a small mystically endowed boat that allow the two of you to basically perform the work of a full crew. Since all things being equal, you do like your privacy.
I sure do. I'm going to try to slow down the boat. Of course, I'm going to heed what she says.
You realize that as you go to the wheel, and again, you adjust the sails to try and reduce your speed, which again, this boat is as much mystically navigated as it is practically navigated. You do see a beautiful, gorgeous elven galleon emerge from the mist. It looks like it is made out of like fine lacquered wood with like golden inlays on it and a beautiful sail that looks almost like it is made out of silk. But you can tell from all of the people moving around it on its deck that it is a not insignificant warship.
Oh boy.
That is very much moving in your direction.
How far away is it? How much time can I buy? 10 minutes? 15 minutes?
10 minutes. Yeah, 10-ish minutes
I
at least.
call Autumn down. Autumn, we need to prepare. We don't know what we're in for here, and I think that we need a moment to ready ourselves. And if she comes down from where she is.
Mm-hmm, she does.
So there's something that Autumn is at this point accustomed to. It's a bit of a ritual that I do. And I pull out the violin and I play a very soft tune that's like 4 seconds. And then it's almost as if I catch the sound in my hand and I stretch it out and I throw it around us as if it's like swirling. An echo of that sound that I just played is swirling around us on repeat. As if it's a memory, though, like the echo of the sound that just happened. And that lingers for a few minutes. And intermittently, I utter the names Saga, Rumble, Aldous, Isla, Gaius, Marin. And for 10 minutes, I continue uttering the names of fallen comrades and of friends that we have lost as I activate Inspiring Leader, and I give us 16 temporary hit points, just in case we get into some trouble.
You see she inhales deeply, and you see she looks physically a bit more robust, and she's like, oh, I always love this part. She goes, hey, wait a second. If I don't come back from one of these adventures, I want my own song, by the way. It's like that stuff that I did at Baldur's Gate, come on, man. Like that deserves like.
How about I begin with you and end with you? Is that a fair compromise?
Yes.
Or do you really want me to say your name over and over and over and over and over again?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want people saying my name over and over again. That's why I want the brothel, Loon. But
Oh.
but yeah, no, just you're the artist. You're the artist. I'm not.
And
I'm sure.
and this is why I love having Autumn around, because she knows how to pull me right out of the almost emo moment that I'm about to fall into, and and as she continues to like elbow me and nudge me and like cause me to like crack a smile, even such a solemn moment, you can still hear that it's as if it's a sound field of the memories of our friends that just kind of flitter around us, and even through that her humor like is that infectious.
You do see though that as she listens and the mystical ability takes place, she inhales and she exhales, and you feel this just wave of just calm come off of her that you're very much accustomed to. Like her very presence is peaceful, even though again, she is an incredibly capable warrior. But any room that she walks into, everyone just sort of go.
Hmm.
And she's like, "All right, I'm gonna let you do the talking. You're the legend."
Oh boy.
And you all do see the ship that dwarfs the Zephyr many times over, sort of like turns slightly so that it can come about side on. And you do see a large elven man standing there in very elaborate plate mail. And next to him, you see a woman who is just as tall as he is, also armored, but hers seems much more light and functional. And she looks down and she goes, "Hail, travelers."
And I take a deep bow and I say, well met. My name is Loon Clearcloud. This is my companion, and I allow Autumn to introduce herself.
She just like bows very deeply, like she breaks a leg almost like down to the floor. And she says something in Sylvan, which I do not believe you speak, good sir.
I don't know. Do I?
I don't think you do.
I don't.
I was going to say, she says something,
Mm-hmm.
but you can tell from her mannerisms, it is very much a greeting that she's offering. And they look down and nod, and the woman looks at you and she's like, "Permission to come aboard."
I turn to Autumn to see if I read any kind of like apprehension in her face.
She actually has not come up from the deck.
Ah.
Like she is almost like face to the
Oh boy.
deck.
Ooh. I wonder if I should have done the same thing. Uh-oh. Too late. By all means. And I open up so that they can come on
See,
board.
the heavily armored man looks at the woman like he's about to, with apprehension, and she just like holds her hand up, and you see she just steps off the edge of the ship, which is about 15, 20 feet higher than yours, and she gently just like floats down and lands on the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And you see as she does so, along the deck of the ship that she just departed, you see 6 more heads sort of like appear over the railing, like looking down at you. Yeah.
I know what that is. Um,
She stands up straight. She is about eye to eye with you.
okay, great. Um, a pleasure to have such a guest as yourself on our ship. But I think actually that we're the guests that have been invited. So, um, to what honor do we hold such an illustrious invitation?
Well, you are Loon Clearcloud, are you not?
I am indeed.
And she turns and says something to Autumn in Sylvan again. And you see Autumn stands back up, but she still like has her eyes averted from you and says averted from this woman and says something back to her. She says, "Your deeds are legend, but deeds, dare I say, are easy. What is of greater note is your reputation for your calm demeanor and even mindedness. Any brute can swing a sword. And she does sort of idly motion at the man on the deck, who blanches slightly. His brown skin actually gets darker when she says it. He's like, but it is much harder to know when to swing the sword.
I see. I could not agree more. And yes, the deeds that follow me, they're just really the stories that others choose to weave of how they interpret whatever events I've came upon. I'm less interested in those versions of those deeds and those stories. I'm more interested in what's true.
I must beg your pardon, Master Clearcloud. I was listening as we approached. What were those names you were reciting? You know, when you were saying those names, they were a long way off. By
Yeah.
the way.
I've nothing to hide. They are the names of those I continue to honor with every breath. Old friends, some no longer with us, some have gone on their own ways. I may never see again, but they remain the inspiration that reminds me of who I once was and who I'm meant to continue to become.
And
With great pride, I utter those names.
And you draw strength from them somehow. From their memories?
Yeah, from the things that we shared and what was exchanged between us in a very different time. The truest thing that I have. Now that's a story.
Fascinating. Would that we had more time, I would ask more of it, but unfortunately, I'm afraid we do not.
Well, maybe our purpose here, it seems, is more urgent. Maybe it isn't meant to share past histories, deeds. Maybe it's meant to address what is before us so that we may create a new one.
She sort of smiles at you, and she says, the High Lady, Ordolf, would call upon you, brave heroes. And she does sort of turn her head to look at you and Autumn when she says it, although Autumn still very much is not looking at her. To perform a small task for us in the service, not just of Gwyneth, but of all of the Feywild. Have you journeyed to the Feywild? I am aware of your ancestry. I am aware that you are not completely elf.
I'm not. And I believe I have dipped my toes in the Feywild once.
Tell me, Master Clearcloud, were you raised as one of us, or as one of them, or something in between?
Well, speaking frankly, I believe I was. I don't believe I was raised. I was just finding my way, getting bits and pieces here and there from whatever I can get. So I suppose the answer you're looking for is no, I was not raised in the way that you would describe as your ways. But I am an open book, and an observant.
Then you know the Feywild is a different place. It is another plane of existence where our people hail from originally, where the Eladrin still dwell.
Yes,
Except when they bless us with their presence here on this plane. And you audibly hear Autumn sort of goes like, a little, like she gets a little verklempt when it's like,
oh boy, you're gonna hear about this for so long.
But obviously, there is a great deal to be gained from life here on the prime material plane, and in the Moonshay Isles in particular, along the Sword Coast here in Faerun. There are many levels of existence that must all be experienced and savored, but it also brings along with it certain risks that I would ask your assistance with resolving at least one of.
And what is this risk?
She motions her hand, and in front of you, an illusionary map of the Moonshay Isles appears before you. You, let me pull one out here myself. You see that you are near the island of Gwyneth, which again is currently the stronghold of the elven folk, which is to... I don't see Gwyneth on here. I'm like, it's funny. I actually researched the Moonshay Isles extensively for Dungeons and Dragons: A Darkened Wish, and I'm like, I know exactly where Moonshay is, and I'm looking at this map, and Gwyneth is not there. For our purposes, I'm 90% sure Gwyneth is to the north. But either way, she shows you a map of the Moonshay Isles here, and she points at one island, and she says, "This is Gwyneth, as you might see," and she motions like behind her at the island that you can kind of see off in the distance. She says, "This is our stronghold that we must maintain at all costs." Here, and she points to an island called Moray, which is to the southwest. There is an issue with Fomori. Are you familiar with that particular breed of giantkin?
I imagine. Well, let me do it if I can.
Yep.
A little checkity check.
You could be nature, history, or arcana, whichever one of those are higher.
Okay.
Also, Gwyneth is smack dab in the middle of the Moonshay, a little bit to the south. It's it's kind of at 6 o'clock on the Isles.
I rolled a very poor 9 Arcana check.
You're aware of the name, sort of like, oh, bad giants, like
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing that's like come. Nothing of recent is. I haven't dealt with that in a long time, if I ever have. But I try to mask that a little bit.
You're like #poker face. You're like, I know, maybe tell me what you know to make sure.
Exactly.
Moray is just to the west of Gwyneth. It is fairly close. She says the Moray is the home of particularly vile creatures of all stripes. And the Fomorians are I'm loath to say it, but I can't think of any other description, evil race of giants, or at least they definitely have embarked upon a number of foul deeds. Also, from Moray, there is an issue with the Black Blood tribe of lycanthropes of all manners. Werewolves, tigers, boars. They have struck out from Moray and have been launching attacks along coastal settlements, both of Gwyneth and the other islands.
I see.
In truth, although Gwyneth's protection is our priority, even so, knowing these beasts are putting innocent sentience to the sword all over the Moonshay Isles is still problematic.
And now, is this a new development, or is this how it's always been?
With the recent shifts in the power dynamics of the Moonshay and the failing power of House Kendrick, I believe some of the structures that were once in place to keep them contained are breaking down, which is why we're seeing what we're seeing. What we would ask you and your brave companion to do is either find and stop this black blood raiding party that is attacking, or go to the heart of things in Moray, confront these giants, and either find a diplomatic or perhaps non-diplomatic solution to their mounting hostilities.
I see. How much time do I have to think this through in terms of considering what the best course of action is? Is this urgent? Is this something we embark on immediately?
Well, I would say take as much time as you need. Of course, lives hang in the balance, but I suppose they always do. She reaches in her belt and pulls out an actual physical map that essentially approximates what the illusion that she summoned has. It's got all the islands. It's got Gwyneth on there. It's got Moray on there. And it's also got some X's that show like areas of recent attacks. Through the wonder of technology and us doing this the way that we're doing, I can actually send you said map.
Yes.
Magic. And she just says, you have our blessing to proceed however you think is reasonable to embark upon either thing. You essentially, though, you would either head west to Moray, or you would head south or north, essentially, on the trail of the Black Bloods, if you were to go that way.
All right.
And she looks at you and she says, when you have completed your task, please return to these waters and you will be greeted as appropriate.
We'll do just that. We'll mull this over with my companion and we'll see. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun a little bit. What is... how long is it that you've been here in the seat of power in Gwyneth? Or the lady that you serve?
She sort of like stops and thinks for a moment and she says, it is so difficult measuring time here. Some years, but less than a human lifetime. 10, 20?
I see.
Of their years?
That is so hard to say. I know. May not be a substantial amount of time for you, but of course, that helps me understand a few things.
Their lives are like candle flickers in the wind. I don't understand how they accomplish anything, really. It takes me 50 years sometimes to decide which greave to put on first, the left or the right, I feel.
I know. Well, you'd be surprised what you might be able to achieve when you're driven by how quickly you run out of time. There's an urgency to that, which I'm sure you've seen in your encounters with those who are not as blessed as you are with the longevity that you have.
She smiles for a moment and she says, that is exactly why we called you Master Clearcloud. You have enough of our perspective tempered with an awareness of the fleetingness of theirs.
I'm flattered. I'm flattered that you would consider calling me on such an important undertaking. I will do what I can. I would love to meet the lady you serve and see the lands that are now in your care. But perhaps that'll be another time.
Perhaps, good sir. And she says something else to Autumn and Sylvan, but this time Autumn looks straight up and draws her sword and like salutes her with it. And then like twirls it and puts it back away again. And she walks back towards the ship, which again, the deck is 20 feet higher. And she says, unless there will be anything else, good sir.
Not at this moment.
She nods to you and she walks over and she puts her hand on the ship. And she starts saying something quietly and you hear and her and the ship both disappear.
Huh. Well. I turn to Autumn. Is she still... Well, she has given the salute, but yes, but Well, you seem to be quite impressed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a job. It's a job. That's all.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, it's whatever.
So, what do you think? Huh? What were the? If you care to clue me in, what was the conversation you had in that very fancy language?
I thought you heard everything. No, she was polite to me and to you. She knew things that we'd done, and yeah, no, it's yeah, let's do it. Like, what are we? You do? How do you? She very much is like tongue tied and flustered. Like
I
you
see.
can see, like she's still blushing. She's like, no, it's yeah, whatever. We could do giants. We could do black bloods. We could do black bloods and giants. You tell me.
I'm curious. Why can't they just take care of this themselves? If they could have. They seemed quite powerful. What is in the way, I wonder, of them being able to take care of this on their own? Why do they need to search for two outsiders to handle this for them?
Autumn sort of looks at you for a moment, and then she just sort of smiles, and she's like, "Oh, you are delightful, my friend. So here's the thing. If they were to dispatch their power, even a fraction of it, against Moray, and I feel it would take a good deal more than a fraction of it to break that island directly by force, it would leave them exposed to their numerous enemies that they're surrounded by. We are expendable.
Of course we are. I see. Well, good to know. Well, then let's figure out a course of action. The giants? Or, You know what? I'm curious. Where do these two different... They're not on the same island. I'm trying to remember what they told us.
They are not. The raiders are from Moray, but they have left and are actively attacking other settlements.
Got it.
And the giants are on Moray. So it is the one island. It's just one group has left and is essentially doing dirt all over the Moonshays.
I see.
And the other ones are still on the island.
I said I see, and Siri's she wants to play.
She's like, I will pull up the map of the Moonshay Isles.
Well, I guess it would be difficult to try to keep up with all the different raids. Let's go have a conversation with the giants.
She says, the direct approach. I am a fan. She heads towards the wheel of the ship, and she's like, would you like me to set a course for Moray?
Let us set a course for Moray. And I try to I just kind of like feel the wind, and I try to look. I mean, the islands are far enough away for me to not see, but I know that there's still a part of me that holds a kind of concern for those caught in the middle of these raids. And maybe years ago, my first impulse would have been to rise to the protection of those innocents, and then probably stay distracted on that endless endeavor, especially if there's multiple raids happening over and over again. So, but a little bit older and wiser and able to see the bigger picture of things, perhaps the giants can provide some sort of a solution that's more immediate.
Give me either a history. Actually, do give me history this time.
Got it. 15.
You've got a 15. Let's see what Autumn knows. Autumn actually rolled pretty well. She looks down at the map that the that you were given there, and she turns it over, and you see there is a larger map of Moray on the back of it, and which again, through the wonder of technology, I will provide for you. And she says, she looks at it and she's like, well, I've heard the stories, and she's looking at the map, what's written here, and she's like, we have a few options as far as I can tell. There's Moray, which is one of the remaining outposts of humanity on the island. There was a big battle here, which, again, the humans were able to hold. At one point, all of Moonshay was under the control of House Kendrick. Again, not really anymore. But this is one of the last holdouts of humanity.
I see.
There is Denin's Delve. There is a ruined dwarven stronghold that has an inactive portal inside of it to one of the other islands of Alaron, which is now the main seat of House Kendrick. So the humans' main stronghold is Alaron. There's an inactive portal to it. There is Dinagal, which is a small village on the edge of the island that just sort of tries to make its due. Its major purpose is harvesting peat. There is Quirk, which is a village on the eastern side of Moray. The population is supported by Amn, which is well, really, they're enemies of the people of Moonshay. I wouldn't necessarily say is in and of itself a bad place, but not necessarily somewhere that you like to visit often. You wouldn't necessarily vacation in Amn.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but it's people from there, essentially colonists, not columnists, colonists.
Colonists and Cork.
And finally, there's Farview, which is a village protected by the Northlanders, which is on the edge of the Shaneth Forest. The Northlanders are raiders out of the north, which also have been a problem to some other islands further up. And the Black Bloods do have a significant presence all over the island, and it is not exactly clear where the Fomori are here.
Oh,
but those are the settlements that you're aware of.
So, the dwarven settlement and the last remaining human one.
Actually, let me correct myself. I said one minor thing inaccurately there. The Black Bloods are raiding out of Moray. That is true. The Giants are on the nearby island of Oman. They have a pact with the Black Bloods. They are acting in cooperation and coordination with them, but they themselves are on a neighboring island of Oman.
Oh, I see. Well, Well, it seems to me maybe that there's more to look into. If the Giants are just sitting tight wherever they are and are actually working in cahoots with the Black Bloods, which are the ones that are carrying out the raids, they're doing their bidding. I'm curious as to what it is that causes the Black Bloods to do what these Giants are asking them to do. And so, actually, you know where I would want to go is I'd like to go to the that last human settlement, that holdout. Because if anybody might have information, it must be them or the dwarves.
All right, so you are going to set sail for the... Oops, let me make sure I'm telling you the right thing here. Oh, I left out one location on there, which could be significant. There's also Brisal Marsh, which is the marsh home of the lizard folk. But my understanding is you're going to go to Moray, the site of the battle and the last holdout.
Yes.
Humans?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you all set sail in that direction. And believe it or not, this is probably a good place for us to take our little 10-minute break here.
All right.
Before you drop anchor.
Whoa! Already, I just realized what time it was.
Yep, that's how it happens. That's how they get you.
Damn.
Again, if you have questions, please drop it in chat with a capital question in front of it there. So we'll see it, and we'll talk a little bit about that when we come back. Again, even if you put it in earlier, it's probably worth repeating because sometimes Twitch scrolls up and we might not even get to it, or might not physically not be able to reach it there. And like I said, we'll do a little 10-minute break here, and we'll come back and get in for a silky smooth and uneventful trip into Moray.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and that's why I don't even bother with pants, dude. Like I never before it was always a pants optional stream.
Mm-hmm.
But now
no, who wears pants anymore? Really?
I reject pants and all the other lies of the before times. Hey Jake, just let us know when we're back live though.
I mean, I'm not wearing pants right now, so
I mean, who is? Yeah, no, again, that is the Barons meeting by night there. I guess all our Barons meetings are Baron meetings by night.
They should, yes. They have to, or else.
I
get in trouble. I get in trouble if I post a selfie where I'm in clear daylight.
People give me a hard time about it, and I'm like, that's how I maintain the masquerade, y'all. Photoshop.
Yup. Oh, yes. Photoshop in that daylight.
There it is. You're like, yeah, of course. This is me in the daylight. Yeah. Obviously.
Exactly.
I'm not a merciless undead monster.
No.
Again, Mr. Luis Carazo here. We're chatting. We're playing a little bit of the dungeons and additionally the dragons. And you guys had a lot of questions here, so let's take a look at some of these. So,
okay.
Question: when you create a character for a session or campaign, what do you tackle first?
Well, I think what I want to know first is who am I playing with and what are they choosing so I can balance out the party. That's just a technical thing, of course. But that's important because I'm all about party cohesion. To me, it once I know that, because I have fun with any kind of character. So if there's always people who are like, I don't want to be, the healers, although clerics are really kind of badass and should be played. I'm happy to fill in with whatever the group is, whatever's missing in the group. Once I kind of know what that is, then I just dive so deep in all the character traits.
Is there anything that you find is sort of your default jam though? Again, for me, it's always a caster of some sort. It takes an overt conscious effort to play a melee focused person. Is there anything that you're just sort of I open the book and my finger falls always on this type of character?
I've played a lot of different bards, but I think I play bard, paladin, cleric, and I'm finally playing right now in another campaign. I'm playing a rogue. And I have never played a rogue before, and I am kind of loving it, and I can see myself playing a rogue for a while. But I tend to be made the tank or some sort of secondary buffer healer.
Yeah. All right. Here's the next one again, because it's honestly we could talk the entire time about literally any one of these.
I know.
Next one when. That's the same one got posted twice. Would you join on one of B-Dave's Patreon games as Nines or as another character for fun? I did not say that. That's really there.
I mean, sure. Why can't I do both? Why can't I join as Nines in one and then throw something else in there another time?
So let me tell you something. We run 8 to 10 sessions a week. There's a lot of opportunity available.
Wow.
Available, and we will hook that up, y'all.
I got time right now because what else is there to do than this?
That is, it is not coincidental that I started doing these things at a time that pretty much everybody was home and looking for something to do. It's weird.
And everyone's like, sure, I'll do that. I mean, I just am zooming in or,
Let me just give the official disclaimer there so that Jason doesn't have an aneurysm and get mad at us. Yes, on my Discord we do play LA by Night characters. It is non-canon. We do it for fun. So yes, the Victor and Nines can have the pants off dance off Baron meeting.
Earth 2 version.
Earth 2, exactly. The AU. Let's see how much prep material were you given for the character of Nines, the source book, video games, etc.? How much are you influenced by the information, and how much comes purely from you? I will say, just as a disclaimer, artistic process stuff, all that's on you, man. Like, to what you want to share or not share. So, zone of safety.
I mean, yeah, cool. So I was given a lot of. I asked for a lot of material. I was given clips of the video games and lots of background story and all kinds of source material, and I just kind of approached it like I would any other role, really. Like, I tried to find what is the point of view of this person, what are like the core beliefs and values, and how does he see himself in the world, and how does he think the world sees him. And it was like a crash course. And and then I kept checking in with Jason. Jason is definitely guiding me. Every time they have me on, Jason is nudging me towards what the point is of Nine's presence in that moment, and in order to help facilitate the story for these guys. But aside from that, everything that unfolds is all how it just comes tumbling out of me, with a lot of the guidance that Jason has helped provide. So it's a big mix, but I think the thing for me is latching onto the fact that Nines is there's a lot in the material out there, even in the video game, the scenes. He kind of reveals a lot of how he sees things, and the kind of philosopher and that kind of lineage of the Bruja. So I spent a lot of time kind of trying to try on that point of view, and then fly by the seat of my pants and see how whatever these guys throw at me, and kind of roll with whatever that is. Not sure how much that answers that.
You don't have to go into detail, especially because not everybody is caught up. But are there any times where you almost surprised like you were just something authentic in the moment that you said or did? You were like, this is what the moment demands, but isn't necessarily like where you thought the plan was going. Like, have you thrown any curveballs?
Yeah. I mean, I think every single time there's something, almost every time when there's been a substantial conversation between Nines and anybody else, there's always been things that are surprising. I never expected to give a speech. Like, I never expected to be the one that was going to hold court in the times that I have. But it just struck me. The thing that I know is Nines is older. He knows what's up, and he sees the bigger picture of things, and is not, I don't know how to say that exactly. I got to be careful with how I say things.
Because it's the internet and it's forever. By the way, it's like Luis guaranteed. Nines blah. We're spitballing is artists here. It's performers.
So yeah, exactly. So I mean, there are times where any kind of emotional response of any sort, anytime I got worked up and went on a rant of any sort, that was just what was happening because of what was happening right in front of me. And I'll tell you, I do get frustrated. I get legitimately frustrated with this group of important children, in my eyes, in a sense, that do. Of course, they're going to make mistakes, and of course, they're going to do whatever. There's things have to unfold in the way that they unfold. But there's times where I was like, yeah, if I get heated up, it's actually happening and surprising, and that's part of what makes this kind of storytelling fun.
Yeah, it is what I think people underestimate how immersive it can be when you let it be immersive.
Yeah,
like when you were like, I'm choosing to put on this mask, and we're here now.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I give the example of during the WonderCon episode when Amy Vorpal came out. She looked at me and she's like, B-Dave, you have to adjust the mic. Like, she gave me a legit logistical thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked at her like I don't know what she's talking about. You know what I mean? I was like,
yeah,
like who is this? P Dave. Like it really like had to like go through a moment, like a couple of filters there. That was like, oh, you mean this? Oh, okay. You know,
yeah, right.
But, yeah,
You get lost in it. You get swept up in it.
yeah. It's almost like you have to come up for air for a minute to all right. Do you DM, by the way? Do you DM as well?
Ooh. No. I have introduced friends to like a brief, kind of hour or two long encounter, but I've never actually ran a campaign beyond just that. And it is, I don't know. I will one day. I think that it's becoming a little bit more enticing as time goes on. But
I'm just saying, you have my sword, like literally. You have my sword.
Damn.
Well,
So,
you know what it is. Here's what it is. I'm about to peer pressure you. Internet, watch this. I'm about to pressure him. I'm about to get him with it right now. You ready?
Damn.
Watch this. I'm about to sell him on it right now. We do it as a charity game. Charity of your choice.
Damn. Why you got to do that? Why you got to do that?
I have to be careful. Right. I'm gonna knock down my backdrop, given my victorious spaghetti arms. But yeah, man, it's a joy. And the reason why I bring it up is the next question is, what's the best way for a DM to keep things moving in a one shot? Which I don't necessarily know. You're seeing the best example of today from me.
I think you're doing fine.
I would say,
yeah.
You just have an idea of, you need to know where it starts and you need to know roughly where it's ending, and then you can kind of gauge appropriately, because it's, right. I tell everybody, especially people that especially streaming, especially that are new to streaming, this kind of applies to table games, but especially to streaming, you will do about half of what you thought you were going to do.
Oh yeah.
So however prepared you think you are, that you're like, we're gonna have these 4 fights and these 2 encounters, it's like, no, you're gonna have like 1 fight and 2 encounters, it's gonna be like. So understand where it is you're trying to head, and then as you're watching the clock, just every once in a while, you just sort of nudge things, and that's the reinforcements can show up, and monsters can flee. All sorts of things can happen to kind of sort of like expand and contract the time there. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I think with anything, I think a lot of the things that help facilitate this are also like good life things, which is prepare, but then let go of all your preconceptions and surrender to what's happening in the moment instead of the idea that you thought should be there. And and roll with what's there, mistakes and all, because that's part of the beauty of this kind of a thing.
Yeah, let it be what it wants to be. What is, and this is again one thing we could talk for an hour on here. So much so I'm going to ask you that one last. What are some there's another one for me, but I'm going to toss it to you too. What are some tips and tricks that you would give someone new to D&D, and also how you play your characters when you are in a session or a campaign? I guess, like, what's at least like one pro tip you would give somebody as a player?
Try it. That thing that you're thinking about that you're afraid to do, just do it. What is the worst thing that's going to happen? Like, you're just a bunch of friends around a table. Yeah, no, well, you can always create another character. You can always bring the character back.
That is true.
So I think that is that's just one. Just go in there and just try it. I have other definite things that I feel like I've learned in terms of like character creation and backstory that are like kind of more in-depth tips that are maybe not necessarily like beginner tips, but I don't know if you want me to throw some of those things out there or not.
Of course, man. No, I mean, now you have to. Now, like, we must hearken unto you. Yes.
But now, so for me, you have to also figure out what is your way of doing this. Find your way of doing this on your terms. Like, don't do it. It's such a unique experience. And to me, I think across the board, you are stepping into a role, but however you do that and to what extent and how that's expressed is going to be unique to everybody. So really get to know the kind of role player you really are and want to be. Like for me, for instance, I am all about I really like the role playing. I love the combat. That's why I love rolling dice. I like using abilities, but I really like being in in the shoes of a hero in a fantasy setting, and I'd like to have those conversations about my fallen comrades with someone who knows me, and not to actually have a heart to heart about it. So I create some backstory for my characters to help me understand, just to help me feel rooted in something that has substance. Not everybody does that, but if you're the kind of person that does that, then don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to write something that is going to help serve your ownership of it. Now, your backstory when it comes to actually gaming, it's only interesting to you. So don't try to force it into the game if it doesn't isn't pertinent to what's actually at hand right now. Because nothing is worse, I think, than sometimes a player who is thinks their backstory is so important, but then keeps it hidden and then tries to impose it on other people. Like that your backstory is only fun for you. It should inform you, but let go of it so that you can include everyone else in what's happening right here in the moment.
Yeah, it's context, because I was going to say that exact same thing. I think if I had to give two things, I would say one, and it dovetails nicely with that, is understand who your character is, like who they are, like who they really are. Why are they doing this? Why do they take up the sword? Why have they left home? What is it that they're after? Because when you understand who they are, it will help you to react authentically in the moment, and you don't really have to anguish over things or think about them too much. It's I know who Victor is. I know who Freely is. I knew who Chateau was. So that when confronted with something, immediately they do this, and it was easy. I'd say the other thing is always look for ways to set up everyone else at the table. Look for assists, to use basketball parlance. Anytime you can pass someone else the ball for them to score, then you're increasing the overall experience for everyone. I mean, obviously, there's definitely times to shoot your shot, but if you have the choice between shooting your shot and letting somebody else shoot theirs, try and pass it. Because I'm always trying to look for ways to dish it to someone else. What do you think? What do you want to do? Where are you going to go? I'll follow your lead, to set them up for success.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. If the cast and crew of Critical Role asked both of you to appear in one shot, would you? I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
No, you're like, no, I will see you in hell, Matt Mercer, and you know why.
I have been talking to Matt. I've been texting with him, and I'm like, hey, let's friggin' roll some dice sometime. So it's been a conversation. I mean, whether on Critical Role or not, I mean, I just been bugging him to do it, as friends again. Like the good old days.
Played with Mercer a few times, Towson a few times. I mean, yeah, of course. I think we all know we'd do it. If you could play D&D or vampire with any celebrity, living or dead, who or why?
What? Wow.
Yeah, that's not weighted.
Any celebrity? Oh, you know who I would play it with? I would play it with Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, yep. It'd be Obama.
I just saw Hook. Hook was on TV or something, and we put it on, and so I had Hook on my mind. But yeah, I would love to see what that would be like.
No, for me it'd be Obama. I would like to rage. Yeah. That's and what's the hardest doing a one shot with a group of people or with just one person? I guess that's for me. It's the same. It's just, I think I've been fortunate in that these things are talented people that I know are going to lean into it and do things. I mean, the only time DMing is difficult ever is when you have a passive participant. And just some people aren't necessarily just not very chatty. It doesn't even mean they're not paying attention or that it might be all rolling around in their mind. But the people that just don't talk much, it's you got to kind of pull it out of them, But when you have people that are going to take the bull by the horns, then it's easy. I think of all of these that I have scheduled, there's exactly one that I'm worried about the person not be forthcoming enough. And I'm not going to say who it is because I'm not here to out anybody. Because of course, if I didn't think they were good for it, I wouldn't have asked them to do the show. But I mean, I have exactly one person. Besides that, no, it's all good. All right, now here is the last question. What's a memorable moment from a previous or current game?
There's so many. Okay, so I guess I have to. So part of what makes this fun is exactly why I like acting and any other kind of format of acting, which is I really, really enjoy the immersion. I like getting lost in a character. I like I like having a deeply emotional experience if it's, you know, honest and relevant to the story. Um, so, and I've had some of these like really big moments in tabletop role playing. So there is one moment since I'm playing Loon. There's one where I had with him at Matt and Zach's table, which there was. So I talked about how we kind of created these characters of like amplifiers, which were um, enhancers basically, and that's kind of like what I treated Loon as in a sense, that incarnation of him really. And so, long story short, we came upon like a wizard, I think, and there was a magical ritual that he was going to perform for us, but it required an abundance of energy. Then he brought out someone who was chained up, who had his lips sewn shut and was wearing a mask, and he started to move in the same exact way that our party members have seen me move. So basically, he brought out like an enslaved amplifier who was, I mean, just the image of his mouth sewn shut. And it was pertinent to some stuff that was in the backstory that was starting to like come out into uh, um, onto the table, and I lost it. I like literally had a breakdown at the table. Like, I mean, I didn't lose. It didn't impede me from engaging and being an active participant, but it was such an exciting to me moment of immersion where I mean I see it, like I could still see that amplifier in my mind, like being pulled out and shackled and his lips sewn shut, and this was so long ago um, that it freaked Taliesin out. and and it was but they all like were, you know, just you yes and you like roll through it, and you, it's such an intimate experience when you allow yourself to be vulnerable. And just moments like that, I've had moments like that since then. And to me, it's only when I've really like dug deep into what it's the same thing I do when I'm acting. My job as an actor is to try to make this character's problems my problems, to have an understanding of what their hopes and dreams are and what they're sorting through, and to kind of just spend time on that from their point of view. And I love that about acting, and so why would I do this any other way? So I do that to an extent. It depends on the role, depends on the character, but yeah, there's moments like that. And I know Matt and Taliesin have talked. They remember. We actually have a recording of that day, I think, somewhere.
You should dig these things up and like throw them on the internet, man. You know, yeah.
I don't have the recording.
Right, it's like they exist. Yes.
They exist. They're out there somewhere.
This is one of the few times in my life, the fact that there's a recording of that thing I did a few years ago with some friends, and I want it to be on the internet. It's like an unusual. I'm like unusual plot twist there.
Yeah, maybe. Oh boy.
Let us dive back in then to the grand adventure of Mr. Loon, Clear Cloud. You all steer the Zephyr silently and effectively like an arrow towards the Isle of Moray, and you said you wanted to zero in on Moray, one of the last human strongholds here.
Yes.
As you arrive, you can see, even as you all are pulling into the port, a large-sized, what would have been bustling city at one point that looks nearly deserted. Give me a perception check there, if you would.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I just lost one of those D20s.
Floor dice don't exist.
I know, right? A 15.
You do see smoke coming from the odd chimney here or there. There are a few boats moored along the piers, but you think this city is half, maybe a third of the population that a city this size should have. You also can see there is a large fortress that is sort of like dominating the city, sitting up on a hill, but there is a giant crack in the wall where it has been split completely open, and you can see all the way inside. And as you are standing there looking at this, Autumn sort of walks up next to you and she says, I guess they won?
I guess. At what cost? Huh.
And what's the play here? What are we trying to do?
Right now, I want to gather information. I want to assess what they know. They're here experiencing this firsthand. They're gonna give us an in the trenches understanding of what we're up against here. Also, there's all these different groups of people that are being attacked, and I don't know if there's any cohesion between them. Why aren't those on Gwyneth Isle working with these people here that are trying to fend them off as well? What about those dwarves in that other settlement? So it's curious to me that they are not working together, even if it seems like they have a common cause. But I don't know if they are or they aren't. So I need more info.
She just looks at you and nods, and she's like, well, okay, I'll follow your lead. And she stops for a second, and she's like, hey, Loon?
Yeah?
I'm happy to be a verse in your story. And before you can say anything, she disappears in a cloud of leaves, teleporting away.
Well, I'm happy to have you, I say into the air.
You moor the Zephyr easily. You do see a number of wary looks from people in houses along the piers, and you see some shutters close quickly. A group of about 7 hastily thrown together soldiers are coming down the pier carrying spears with them in ill-fitting armor. A quick glance at their faces shows them to be some probably too young to be here, others definitely too old. Does not seem to be a lot of hale and hearty fighting folk amongst their group, but they are definitely approaching as you guys are pulling into your slip.
And are they within shouting distance?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I just raise my hands up and I say, friends, fear not, we're here we're not here to be any kind of threat. We're here to help. Please put down your weapons. We come without ours in hand.
You hear Autumn say, oh. And she very much pushes the quid, tugs at her belt, and her sword falls to the deck immediately. Boom, boom. Yeah. And they're like, hail, who goes?
As the boat approaches, Loon Clear Cloud at your service. We've come to see how your last stand is working out, and by the looks of things, it appears you've seen better days.
An old man with a scar over one eye and a patchy white beard sort of steps forward and turns his head a little bit and goes, "Day, Loon Clear Cloud."
I suppose I am the one. If you have heard of me, then I'm flattered.
Why? Any half-elf could come in here with some orange-painted strumpet and claim to be Loon Clear Cloud. If you're really him, tell me what you're famous for doing at Waterdeep?
Well, I guess I suppose it depends on who you ask. At Waterdeep, I held counsel with Lady Silverhand, and I convinced her to stand down in her conflict with the Greyhand.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you might have just heard that story just like me. Like, how are you gonna, like, tell me something that only Loon Clearcloud would know? And Autumn leans over and she goes, if only you know it, how would they know you're telling the truth?
I know. Exactly.
She's like, what? There you go. Just let me know if you want me to do my thing.
So I put my hand up. I am going to, first of all, I'm going to check to see if I make sure that I have this ability and I'm not confusing it with another character that I have.
Yep, you can do it.
Oh, good, I can. Yes. So I'm gonna use Misty Step, and I'm going to teleport right next to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I put my hand right on his shoulder immediately as soon as I see him freak out.
Almost stopped me heart, you did.
And I whisper something in my hand, and I catch it. And I throw the whisper up in the air, and with my other hand, it's like I start to throw it around, and this sound starts to swirl around us. And it's a song, but not quite. It's like a memory. And all of a sudden, this man starts to hear swirling around him a song that his mother used to sing to him when he was a child. He feels a little inspired. I basically just gave him inspiration. My inspiration time.
It is you, it is. He's right. It's a Loon Clearcloud, everyone. It's a Loon Clearcloud. And you see, like, as the voice kind of echoes, you Loon Clearcloud. A couple people are like, really? A few like, who is that? What? And you hear from the boat Autumn's voice 3 times louder than it should be. The Loon Clearcloud.
Oh, yes.
And a moment later, in a shower of autumn leaves, she appears next to you and says, the warrior of Waterdeep, the narrator of Neverwinter, the... What else can I call you?
That's enough. That's enough.
No, it's not enough. No. The Bard of Baldur's Gate, the Icy Avenger of Icewind Dale. No, Loon Clearcloud. This is Loon. And the people do sort of like join in with her a little bit there. Like sort of kind of resting their spears on their arms to like clap and call your name. And she's
and
like,
you see like Loon just kind of like hang his head and not and it definitely not the kind of person who would suck in that kind of energy and allow that to like build his ego. So he, just kind of thank you all. Thank you. I'm flattered. And we're not here. This is not the reason why we're here. We're here to offer assistance. It looks like you.
Oh, we're saved from somebody.
Oh boy!
When you say that,
yes. Who is in charge? I would like to have an audience with whoever that is, please.
They sort of look at each other for a moment, and they're like, well, you see, it's been a complicated time. It has been. You probably are looking for old lady Steerstep.
Lady Steerstep. And where might I find her?
They all sort of turn and look up kind of at the ruin of the keep. And they're like, up there keeping an eye on things she is. We probably should be more respectful of her. She and her suffer greatly during the battle and all. But, I mean, we all did suffer greatly. But we held her home, and what else is there, right? The black blood ain't come back since, so we must have been doing something right.
How long ago was this battle?
Oh, 3 years ago, I think. Maybe 4 winters. Starts to blur together, it does. It's been, if you don't mind me saying, it's been a tough go since, Mr. Clearcloud.
No, I understand. I can see that you've had a hard time getting yourselves back on your feet, but allow me to speak to Lady. I'm sorry, what was her name again?
Steerstep.
Steerstep. And if I would like to take my leave, I kind of do a bow and I look at all of them, wave, and I start to walk towards that tower.
You see they all sort of still kind of like follow you and are like crowding around a little bit, and Autumn leans over and she's like, do you want me to, take care of this? I mean, I don't mean like take care of this. I mean,
yes,
take care of this.
Yes. Yeah. If you can, please see if you can assess what's going on here and take care of any immediate needs that you think that you can help. Also, can you get them to not follow me? That would be great.
She says, yeah, okay, hang on. Boys. And you see they all turn and look right at her. And she's like, could you give my buddy a little space and maybe help me with something over here? And right when she says that, you see what you've seen her do 100 times, Loon. Mm-hmm. Their eyes become dinner plates looking at her. And they're like, oh, yeah, right. Do you need us to like restock your boat for you or anything? And she's like, yeah, restock the boat. And she looks at you and just goes, yeah, oh, wow, look at you, such strapping things. And all of their eyes turn to her, giving you a clear opportunity.
I take my and I definitely take advantage of that. Shaking my head just ever so slightly.
She looks at you and she's like, just call if you need me.
I will. I send message, so I think that into her head.
Mm-hmm. Yep. She's like, I promise I'll be good. Mostly. Mm-hmm. It's okay. I have to support the troops. Loon.
Yes.
They're heroes.
I cut the mental connection. I'm like, okay.
She's like, hey, land is cheap here. I could start my bra.
Exactly. Drop call.
Yeah. Lost of connection. It's weird. You give me a perception check as you make your way through the streets of Moray, Loon.
Yeah. 14.
As you are traveling through here, again, as you get inside, you can see there's a lot of just decimated buildings here. Some of them have been boarded up, some not. You can see there's some like shops and things that like the front half of it is collapsed, but they're still in there making bread and trying to go about their lives. You have been on enough battlefields that you know that this was a site of a calamitous battle. Mm-hmm. But again, they must have won. They're here, but clearly something catastrophic happened in this city in the fairly recent past based on the weathering of the exposed bricks and things. Some of them are still have their color, like they haven't just completely molded over in the salt and wind. This is still a fairly tropical environment, so it's warm. I mean, sure, it gets a lot of rain, but even your casual observation is like within the recent past, this place was cracked down to its foundation, but it so far is holding.
All right. Well, no, I'm definitely noting that as I continue towards Lady Steel, lady.
Steerstep.
Steerstep. I'm gonna write that down.
Is you are making your way along, because again the ruin of the keep is clearly visible pretty much from any point in the city. Give me another perception check.
17.
You get the distinct impression you're being watched. And not in the sense that, like, lots of eyes have turned towards you. You very much caught instantly that this is not a place that gets a lot of strangers.
Right.
But this is something else. Kind of makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up, being watched.
I look around and I see if I can try to pinpoint who might be checking me out.
You turn around, you very much get a glimpse of someone that, like, very clearly, like, ducks back around the corner. Like, they're looking, and you turn and look, and they...
Okay. I'm going to keep that, like, kind of an eye in my periphery as I continue heading towards the tower. And I'm going to have my hand on the hilt of my rapier.
You, as you kind of, like, keep looking back every once in a while, it becomes clear to you there's 3 of them. Like, every once in a while, you sort of hear, like, just voices just kind of just out of range of earshot, sort of talking amongst themselves. You can give me... Oh, well, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. No, you go ahead. I'm going to give you
one more perception check to see if you can hear what it is they're saying.
No, I got a 6.
You've successfully rolled a disbelieve there. Yes. You are moving through the cobblestone streets of this place. Again, there's beautiful colors and pastels, lots of blues and yellows. It strikes a sharp contrast with the state of it as you see these, like, gorgeously painted homes with, like, bashed in roofs and collapsing walls and things. And you realize these 3 are definitely, like, picking up the pace to get closer to you.
So I'm going to send message to Autumn to let her know that I may have company. So if she wants to make her way, I tell her where I am, make her way closer if she has an opportunity, that would be appreciated. And if message works in that
Technically, you have to be within 120 feet of her, but you have other abilities that would allow you to get this across to her. So yes, submit this message to her, no problem. Even via sending, if not via message. But yes, you easily can get this across.
So I will turn around and I'm going to look squarely at them. I'm going to just let them know I see them.
They sort of come around the corner and they stop and they look at you. And you see one of them looks like a half orc. One of them looks like a filthy human, and the other one looks like a halfling.
I see. Can I help you?
Yeah, we was just here to see if you needed like a tour guide or anything.
I think I know how to make my way through here. Thank you.
Well, we was just meaning that, like, if you was willing to make a small donation to the Orphans and Widows of the War Fund, we was just here to collect, you see.
Oh, I see. And to who may I be making this donation to? Your name?
Oh, me? Oh, no, they just call me Willow.
Willow. Very good. So I will, as I continue towards, I turn around and I say, I will make sure to bring up your name when I take my audience with Lady Steerstep.
Oh, no, that ain't gonna be necessary. On account of we's don't need to have any publicity for what we's doing out here. It's like it's a charity as its own reward and whatnot.
I see. Well, I'm afraid that you've caught me in not so charitable a moment. In fact, I think I'm running out of charity. I've just arrived here to offer my assistance, and that honestly is all the charity I have to give right now.
Oh, well, that's a shame, really, because. And he sort of looks you up and down and he's like, we saw you coming in on that nice ship and you got this fancy boat. So let me put it to you another way, mate. And he pulls out a curved and serrated dagger.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, if you don't want to leave behind a widow and some orphans somewhere, then maybe you just drop your coin purse and go about your business, you see.
No, I see. I suppose I should be careful to not do that, I guess. I kind of roll my eyes because I've seen people do this dance. It's like, oh, this thing again.
Mm-hmm.
I take out my rapier and I tell them one last time. I say, well, I tell them, stand down, sirs. You need not be humiliated today. It's not what I came here for.
Oh, we need not be humiliated. You hear that? He wants you not humiliate us. All right. I tell you what, mate. Since you gave me a good laugh, you did. Now, you don't get a lot of those these days. Let me just show you what you're up against here. And maybe it's going to make you change your mind. All right?
All right.
Right, because I'm feeling...
my rapier.
You say. And right there in front of you, he begins to change. His body becomes thick and muscled. His hands become thick and clawed. And you see a large maw of a bear come across his face. And his friends begin to change too. One of them turns into a half tiger and the other one a half boar. And their tattered clothing basically stretches over their bodies. And they sort of like laugh, through his like horrific boar face. And he's like, oh, he's scared now, he is. Yeah, mate, so again, if you just want to drop your coin purse, we ain't gonna tear you to ribbons. And the tiger's like, oh, well, I might still, but your chances are better if you pay us first.
You talk too much. I cast Thunderous Smite.
All right, let's roll.
Roll it.
Here. Let's see if you go first with them. You can get this off on them, but we'll see if they go.
I rolled where is my modifier? Ooh, a 21 initiative.
That is
a 20. Sorry, I can't do math. 14 plus 6.
You absolutely can go before them. They are standing there completely sort of like laughing at each other, like they're very much expecting you to like cow. So when you're like shaboom, like we're not expecting that at all. Is a Thunderous Smite a single target or AoE?
Thunderous Smite is not either of those. It is a bonus action that allows me that basically affects my attack.
Yes.
That I'm about to do. So it is.
Oh, so you go. Yeah, it's just a standard smite. So you got to hit one of them, and once you do it, you'll be able to smite them.
Yes. So it is. Let me see.
So you've got the bear that was the one talking the primary amount of smack as a were-bear. Then you also have a were-tiger and a were-boar.
Yes. I'm gonna go for the bear. So and he's within 30 feet, so I can run up to him.
Oh yeah.
Great. So Thunderous Smite is my bonus action. I'm gonna get within melee attack range, and I'm gonna cast Booming Blade, which is a cantrip.
Yes, it is.
So let's see if I hit.
You're gonna Booming Blade and Thunder Smite him, huh?
You better believe it. So I rolled a 12 plus. Where's my thingy? Attack. I'm having all these things in front of me.
I understand.
See my attack modifiers. Boom, boom, boom. I want to get the numbers right, so nobody that's watching.
You are +9 to hit on
That
that.
cheating.
Because it so happens I has
I'm sure. Yeah. Oh, got to have a +9. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what is that? Like a 20, 21? Math that. Okay. So that hits?
That is enough to hit him, yes.
All right. So I walk up to him, and then again, kind of like what I've done earlier is like it's like just a tiny hum, a hint of a song that I kind of take from my lips, and then I throw it into my rapier as I like thrust forward and hit him with booming blade and thunderous
For you,
smite.
the booming blade is now 3d8 because of your level. So he does not make the strength check. So you very much, even though your rapier seems like this finesse weapon, you lunge forward and hit him. And literally, it is like all of the energy of a thundercloud goes off.
Yes, sir.
Sends him flying. But yes, you also smite him as well.
Roll for damage, yes?
Oh, absolutely. Well, roll damage for both. Roll damage for both.
Oh, I have a whole bunch of die in my hand. So I got 2d6 for thunderous smite, and then I have 3d8 for the booming blade plus 1d8 for my rapier. Am I doing that math right?
Yes, so the booming blade is 3d8. The rapier is 1d8 plus 5. So you got 1d8 plus 3d8 plus 5, and then the thunderous smite.
Great. So he takes, I'm just going to add it all up. That's 5, 10, 22, 27 points of damage.
27 points of damage, and he goes hurtling across the alley and smashes through a wall. And the other two look at you and just go, "Rah!" and attempt to attack you. Let's see what your AC. That was 27, including the thunderous smite. Was that total?
Yeah, that was not the highest roll, but yep, 48 plus 2d6 plus my modifier.
They both descend upon you, and at first that you are dodging and weaving effortlessly, weaving through their attacks with your speed and grace. But the tiger catches on to what you're doing and adjusts and smashes you with a particularly ruthless bite into your shoulder because he rolled a natural 20.
Oh, damn.
Yes, he bites deeply into you and like growls with satisfaction when he does for 21 points of damage.
Minus 16 because I'm still sheathed in my
yes,
temporary
that is not accounting for any mitigation. Yep. Give me a Constitution save.
Damn, that's not good. How much was that damage again? I want to make sure to write that down right.
21, not counting whatever mitigation you've got.
Got it.
I like where this is headed, by the way.
Uh-oh. Oh, I think I'm the one that underestimated them a little bit. Constitution save. 17. Oh, actually 18.
You feel a burning sensation start to go through your veins.
Uh-oh.
Loon.
Yes.
You're not 100% sure what that means.
Frug. I guess we'll find out.
Yes.
Okay.
And it is your turn again. Because again, they were a jumble of teeth and claws and bites. And only the tiger managed to land anything on you there.
All right. Does the one that I knocked away, does he move at all? Did he do anything?
You hear, no, he went flying and smashed through a wall and like bricks landed on him. Although he seems like he's still alive in there. But I mean, you definitely like licked him pretty strong.
Oh, good. If he moves, he takes more damage. I'm going to do another, one of these. I don't know what this effect is yet, but
I like what
I'm going to cast True Strike one more time and then Booming Blade. Let's use this combo on the tiger.
All right.
Uh-oh. That is...
I have these delightful Egyptian marble dice from Level Up, which is incredible. I just like being able to say I've got Egyptian marble dice.
I want to see what they are.
They can be a little hard to read, though. So if you see me like, yep, they're raised. You can feel the number even easier than you can see it, to tell you the truth. But if you see me making strange faces over here, that's what that is. I'm not like, oh my God, that's a lot of damage. I'm just like,
you're like, what the hell did that say?
Yep.
You and me both. I would.
I'm like, is it 1 or is it 10? That is an important distinction.
Well, I rolled a 17 to hit.
That is enough to hit him. You're going after the tiger.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So, booming blade and my thunderous smite. So this guy, and he goes flying, takes 5. Oh, let's math this.
Let's
5,
see if he
10.
He got a 1, so the tiger goes like extra hurdling.
Takes 29 points of damage.
Again, flies through and smashes into the wall. Basically, right as the bear is starting to get up, the tiger comes like flying right into him and collapses both of them there. The boar, again, the boar also misses with 1 and then gets a 20 on his own. Great. So he's enraged by what you've done. And swings his hammer. Actually, you know what? No, let's make this dirty. He gores you with his tusks.
Oh no!
For 23 points of damage.
Oh, that is dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
And it bites deeply into your flesh. And he's like, oh, sure just gave us a coin purse.
That's me. That's not Loon. Loon is much more calm than I am. I'm the one that grunts and growls.
And it is back around to your turn. The bear does try to move. So what happens when he tries to get up?
He takes 3d8 as he is sheathed in booming energy. If he moves willingly, he takes 3d8 thunder damage from booming blade.
He does try to. So go ahead and roll it for him.
And the tiger will have the same thing happening as well. 16 points of thunder damage.
He's like, oh, I'm gonna, and more rocks fall down on the 2 of them. And the boar turns back and looks at them, and he's like, oh, you gonna pay for that. And it is your turn again.
Okay, I am going to. I am hurt a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna cast. What level is this? I'm going to cast. I'm hoping that they're hurt enough. Oh, let's just do that. I'm going to cast Shatter.
Okay.
Let's see. Each creature in a 10-foot radius sphere must make a Constitution save. 3d8. Let me see. Oh, there's so many things.
Mm-hmm.
So many things to do. Yeah, I'm going to cast Shatter on the bear and on the tiger, unless the boar is within. Unless I can place it in between them to get them all. It's a 10-foot radius sphere.
I will say you can get them all. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to cast it at a third out of. Let's make it big. Let's cast it at higher levels. Damage increases 1d8 by each slot above second. So it's 3d8. Well, it's a Constitution saving throw. So, and it's 16 that they have to save on.
All right. No. None of them make the save.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So third, fourth, fifth.
Yep. We're gonna do top.
Weird. So I do the same thing again. It's like I hum a tune, but I catch it in my hand. But this time it turns into this orb of like just pulsating energy. And I toss it right in between all of them. And it's like a concussive boom, sonic boom that just bursts outside. And they take It's a 3d8 plus 3.
Windows nearby all shatter as this like thunderous noise erupts through these like cobblestone alleyways.
And so that's 22 plus. Oh, that went away. 27 points of damage.
Using
level spell slot.
the boar falls to his knees, holding his ear, and everything shakes around. And you hear, and in a cloud of autumnal leaves, Autumn appears there with her bow in her hand, and she's like, I thought you said you were talking.
I was talking, and then these guys decided to have, a different kind of conversation with their fists.
You see the bear and the tiger both try and get up again. Do they take damage every time they move?
No, it's done once they... both of them are done with that.
You see they both look at Autumn for a second, and then they look at each other, and they both come and like try and like claw and swipe at her, and she goes, nope, stop, quit it, stop it, no. And you see like you're like, and she like very much is just like turning her shoulders out of the way, and she's like, am I supposed to let them live?
Let them live, but knock them out.
She's like, and she like, you realize she is very casually just like, no, stop, no. And like the claws do just like go past her instead of hitting her. And the boar turns at you and attacks again. This time, oh, hang on, let me see what he actually manages to crit again on you. Yep. He misses twice and gets you once. He's like, you gonna remember us today, stranger. You gonna be telling my story. And he gores you again, this time only for 10.
Okay. That's not so bad. Ugh.
And they are very ineffectively attempting to fight Autumn. And it's something you've seen her do just 100 times where she's like, no, quit it, stop, hey, come on, like why is no. And then the sword, at some point the sword's gonna leap to life, and you know how this ends for these two.
I'm sitting here breaking a sweat, and she's like,
yeah, she really is like, just let me know when I can finish them. Yeah,
you go ahead now, would be fine, we have other matters.
Okay. Yep. It is your turn as she is like twisting these two in knots, and the boar is in front of you, clearly beat up and injured, but just like frothing at the mouth.
Yes. I'm going to. Let's do this again. Another Thunder Smite Booming Blade combo.
All right. It is a beautiful combo. Yep.
20.
Natural 20?
No, 20.
Okay. Dirty 20. Okay. All right. Then yes, that is enough to hit him.
All right. So that is 1d8, 2d8. He takes the Booming Blade is 10, 12, plus 2d6. I love this. I love rolling all these die. That's 23, 28 damage from that combo.
Same thing. Well, let me see if he holds it. He gets his maul up, and when you hit him, he takes the damage, but he slides right in between, right next to Autumn and the others, and she goes, oh my God, I'm going soft in my old age. And she just goes, hey, all of you, sleep. She blows out a pink dust in their faces, and they're like, boom, boom, boom. Then all three of them fall asleep on top of each other. And she looks down at them, and she draws her sword, and she's like, yeah.
You can knock them out, but let's tie them up.
But she's like, yeah, but they're like lycanthropes. Aren't they supposed to be the bad guys? Like,
they are the bad guys right now, but that's at least maybe gives us some leverage. We don't know how they negotiate. They're not our prisoners. They're not ours to kill.
I feel like you're punishing me for being too good at fighting, that I was able to incapacitate them. Now means I don't get to finish them off. Like, man, if I just stabbed them the first time,
Oh, no. I'm actually looking out for the story that follows you. They're on the ground. You barely broke a sweat. Do you want the story of Autumn to be the one that assassinates her incapacitated foes, or do you want the one who takes down a worthy adversary? I'm just looking out for you.
Autumn, the nightmare that attacks in your sleep, is a okay. And she leans down and she does start like binding them. And you notice after a few moments, they do all in their sleep, they shift back to their humanoid forms as she ties them up. And she's like, okay, all right.
I mean, I'm not saying you can't, while they're sleeping, clobber them to make sure that they stay out, in a deeper sleep.
No, they're out. When I do the dust, it's a wrap. No, they're dead to the world. And she like shakes. She's like, oh, they don't even have any money. Come on.
Nothing.
What do you want? You want me to get those guards? How?
Yeah, let's get some guards. Can you watch over them too? I think, they were here amongst the town, so there might be a few of them posing as the people from this town. So
looks that way. I mean, you want me to hang out with them? Am I coming with you? What do we? I mean, are you?
You hang out here with them.
I'm starting to think you only want me to like save your bacon. And she kind of like kicks the board. No pun intended. You did.
And I thought that saving my bacon is one of the things that gives you many pleasures.
Yes, it is.
I know how much you love to hold that over my head.
You're gonna have to stop saying things that are true, Loon. And she just sort of like puts her hand on her temple for a second. She goes, all right, cavalry's on the way, and I'll try to not kill these dudes. Wait, which one was the boar? That guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, go. I'll handle it. I'll just. And she turns around and you hear her voice gets loud again, 3 times louder than it should. And she's like, oh, Loon, you saved me. I was so scared. These terrible lycanthropes. I was so afraid, Loon.
I'm already out of earshot. If anything's going to get me out of there fast.
She very much is watching you go. She's like, I was so afraid, Loon.
That damsel in distress performance is the worst.
Yep. And you see the guards do come approaching as you make your way up the stone staircase to the ruin of the keep. And again, when you get up there, you see 2 guards standing there holding the spears. And as they're looking, you think it is a young boy and a young girl. You think they might be 14. The pot helms are fitting in like the strictest technical sense there.
Wow.
And they're watching you approach. They're like, oh, we saw what you did down there. That was amazing. How'd you hit him so hard that he like flew? That like big monster went hurtling like he didn't weigh a pound.
I just laughed to myself, and what's he? Is he? So he's got the like kind of pot helmet. And are they wielding anything? I can't remember.
Yeah, they both have the same spears. They look just like the guards that came to the docks.
Wow.
Ill-fitting armor, this probably inherited, that is sort of like kind of tilted to the side to like look at you kind of like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just kind of like tapped him on the shoulder as I pass by, and I say, just keep at it. You'll find your own version of that. You just I just look how scrawny they are, and I'm trying to engage more than I used to, and I just they just look so sad, the state of this place, that like my attempt to try to like roll with them and encourage them is just kind of like stopped as it really hits me for the first time, these 2 young teenagers, and how hopelessly equipped this place is to handle what I just encountered. So I just stop in my tracks and I just pat them on the shoulder and walk past.
look at you and they're like, me mom was strong like that. She was defended this very post against the oncoming horde. She did. Never seen anybody swing a sword like me mom. You haven't, I guarantee.
And where is she now?
Oh, she's gone on to the world of our ancestors. Yeah, on this very spot she did.
I figured.
But she held the keep.
I come back and I look at them and I say, then that's your way. If you keep the memory of her alive inside of you and you fight for her, then you too, you will get stronger and you will become someone that is worthy of holding that memory of such a powerful and noble person.
You see, they both swell a little bit. And the boy points at the girl and he goes like, my sister, she might even be stronger, she might. And she looks at you and she goes, yeah, it's like every once in a while I get like, when I get my mad on, you see, then I can also like, whoa.
I smile, laugh. I mean,
yeah, you'll see, you'll remember us, you will. They'll be telling our stories, they will.
What are your names?
He is Theravon, and I am Cena.
Cena and Theravon.
Yeah.
Cena and Theravon. I will certainly remember those names.
And they like look at each other and they both like, yeah. You may pass, brave sir.
And I bow. And I thank you.
They both try to bow and the helmets start folding off and stuff, and they kind of like put them back on type thing. They're like, yes. Yes. Lady Steerstep is awaiting within.
I enter.
As you go in, again, from what you could see down on the pier, the wall is completely shattered. You're not even sure what power cracked such a significant hole in what was once a mighty fortress. But now, again, the sea breeze blows in, and there are all manner of birds in the rafters, and even a bit of sand has sort of blown in that has been futilely tried to be swept out, but it just comes right back.
Whew.
And you can see sitting at the head of what would have once been the war room table, a gray-haired, matronly old woman. She is not, completely withered. You think she probably still would be able to swing a sword in a pinch if she had to, but definitely the years show on her face and in her like long gray braided hair.
And I walk in. I haven't healed myself or anything, so I did take, and I'm not, gonna drop, but I'm certainly.
It's clear you've been in a fight.
Right. So I walk in and I politely stand to keep my distance. Lady Steerstep, Loon, Clear Cloud, at your service.
She looks up at you for a moment, and then she sort of like winces slightly and just like stands up and walks over to you without saying anything and puts her hand on you, and you feel your wounds begin to close as she heals you for 30 points of damage.
Ooh, nice.
And then she just sort of like looks down at her hand a little bit and sort of shakes it, and then like goes back over and sits down, and she goes, ran into a bit of trouble, did you?
Well, I suppose a bit of trouble ran into me and then got thrown a couple feet.
Was that the rumbling I heard a moment ago? I thought maybe some sort of storm was coming in, but the sky is still blue. And she points, and of course you can see like all of outside. Yeah.
That was indeed. Nothing to fret about. I guess I just had a little bit of a taste of what you folks have been dealing with. A boar, a tiger, and a bear. Walk into a bar.
So difficult to root them out because they look like us, and we're never going to rebuild if we don't let in new people. But then it turns out, as often as not, they're just more of those blatant lycanthropes.
So the three that I encountered are tied up, and they're yours. I imagine that keeping them alive might give you a little bit of leverage if you needed it. I don't know what the situation is. I can see with my own eyes very easily that it's not looking great.
She just sort of nods and she says, really, you must be a warrior of some skill to have managed to incapacitate three of them. What did you say? A boar, a tiger, and a bear? And you're standing and took them alive?
Well, I had a little bit of help, and if we can see out the hole, I don't know if we can see down to where Autumn is and where like in the distance, but I gesture towards them if they're in our line of sight, and I say to her, I know better than to go at everything all by myself.
You see, she sort of like stands up and sort of looks. You can tell like she definitely kind of has to like peek around a little bit. It would have been out of her normal eye line. She goes, "Is that an Eladrin?"
Yes, it is.
Can't say that we've had the best relationship with them, or dare I say, even the elven type. She sort of like casts her eyes towards the edges of your pointed ears.
Yeah.
She's like, not that I try to judge people by their blood, but as you can see, we've sort of suffered for it.
Well, it isn't the first time that someone has said words like those to me. I'm guess as used to it as I can be, but regardless, I'm here to offer any help to assess the situation. I was sent here by the Eladrin that you are the lady of the Gwyneth. Is that the island that they're from? Yes.
She's like, really? Lady Ordolf sent you here.
Lady Ordolf, indeed. She sent me to take care of the situation of these lichens and the giants, and I am here to see how it's been affecting you, and
like,
see if there's any information that you might be able to give us and any assistance that we might be able to provide you.
She's like, I warn you, Bard, if you and your orange friend down there are meant to be assassins, cat's paws for Gwyneth, you'll find I won't go down easily. I'm tougher than I look, you see.
Oh, I'm not at all surprised to hear that, and I assure you, that is not at all what we're here for. It seems odd to me that you seem to share a common dilemma and a common foe, but it doesn't seem to me that many of you neighbors are working together to solve the problem. You're all left to your own devices, asking outsiders to come in and intervene. How is that possible?
The truth is, I've buried a husband, I've buried brothers, I've buried sons in the defense of this town. I've given everything of my entire life to Care Moray, and if wringing one more drop of blood out of this old body will help keep these walls standing, I'll do it. We've begged Alaron for help, and our cries have gone unheeded, presumably because Kendrick is somewhere safe in his castle trying to stitch together the remaining pieces of his kingdom. Not that I'm not loyal to House Kendrick. My oath is an oath and all. But it has become clear to me that if we are to find a way to survive here, we must do so on our own.
How has that been going for you?
She just like motions. Yeah, she really does just like motion outwards. She's like, we're surviving, attempting to rebuild. As you can see, like those three you caught every once in a while. We've had to repel invaders, have had to conscript children, brave children, and they was it's never quite enough. And now we just do whatever we can do to make it through the days until help arrives. And when she says that, you and the leaves appear, and autumn appears in a flash. And you see the woman sort of like instinctively reaches for a sword that's on the wall behind her. She's like, no. Hey, Loon, can I speak with you for a moment? Excuse me, your Steerstepness.
If you'll excuse us, this is my companion Autumn, and I would like a moment with her, please.
She sort of she just stands there smiling at you for a second, and she just gives you kind of like finger guns, and you hear message in your mind. She's like, look to the horizon to the east, like around the corner over there. You see black sails.
Oh.
You see 4 ships heading your direction.
4 ships.
And she says again via the message, she's like, raiders, and I don't know that these people have the strength to repel them.
They need reinforcements.
I have a bad feeling that you're going to say those reinforcements are us, but maybe you're going to say we could get on the Zephyr and we could just go right now.
No, the reinforcements are absolutely us. Are you kidding? What a great story. Autumn, the defender of these helpless good folk.
Yeah, no, great, sure, fantastic. Hey, what's up with your arm? And you look down where the tiger bit you, and you see odd black and red welts starting to spiderweb out across your flesh.
That is not good.
And believe it or not, that is a good place for us to stop.
Oh, already?
It's already time.
Are you kidding?
Yep, that's it, man. It goes quick.
It sure does.
We gotta get this guy back out here. We gotta get Loon back out.
Shit, you're right.
Internet, if you want to see more Loon, get him back out here. Young Master Clear Cloud, who absolutely, for the record, is super infected with tiger lycanthropy.
Oh, that's so exciting. Great.
Yeah.
Let's see what that does to me.
No, it's only good things. Only good things.
Revenge.
Exactly. Yes. But hey, you either die the kindred or live long enough to become the lycanthrope, right?
I know, right? I love how you threw that in there. It's like, okay, so we're gonna fight some. You make me fight a lichen, I assume. A bear, a bull, and a tiger. There's no werewolf.
I'm not a monster. I'm not a monster. There were no werewolves. Internet.
No baby werewolves.
No werewolves. Hey, but this time he took out 3 lycanthropes. Okay, so
I was gonna cast sleep, so that was gonna be my next move. But yeah, Autumn took care of that.
She can do it at will. So and it wouldn't have worked if you hadn't softened them up. So, Mr. Luis Carazo, thank you for taking the time to play with us here. Where can the people find you?
So apparently my name, even though Luis is a very common name, but the combination of my first and last name apparently are not so common. You can find me on all the social medias. It's just my name, Luis Carazo or Luis.Carazo, and you'll find me. You can watch. Please give Endymion's Gate a shot, you guys. It's got a really great cast, people that are going to be familiar to you, that you've seen on LA by Night and other things. So give that a shot. It's on Wednesdays at 7:30 on Scabby Rooster Twitch TV or whatever that Twitch TV thing. However that works, you guys know.
It's on too. Yeah, Scabby Rooster.
And, Scabby Rooster. And if you want to watch the season finale of SWAT, then you will see me on there doing some of my own stunts too. So my own little light stunts.
Yeah. No, thanks, man, for playing. Thank you for being a vital part of our community. Thank you for bringing one of the most beloved characters in the lore of the World of Darkness to life so brilliantly.
Wow, thank you.
And we can't wait to see what you do next, and especially what the future holds for Loon Cloud. Oh! I closed my own tab, Mr. Loon Clear Cloud.
Clear Cloud, which wasn't his original last name, but I couldn't. I decided to change it anyway.
I was like, Cloud Good. I'm like, no, that wasn't it, Mr. Loon Clear Cloud.
Clear Cloud.
That being said, in the past, terrible host and gone over when QueueTimes is trying to do the next thing. So I'm gonna give him a couple of minutes and change here. But stick around for Quarter Corvids coming up after a quick changeover here. And let me just see. I tried to confirm with my next guest before I announced it because I didn't want to play with your emotions. It should be that bronze girl, Jasmine, should be next week. We are confirmed, but full disclosure, I booked these things way far out and I realize life changes. So maybe there's going to be some finagling between here and there, but it should be Jasmine, that bronze girl, next Sunday at 1 o'clock. And with that being said, thank you again, Luis. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, remember, Denver by Night on Wednesday, Silver and Steel on Tuesday with me and Jasmine. Dark and Wish, we had the season finale, but we will be returning. Thursday's also The Slumbering Forest with me and the kids, and Friday is Anarchs of New York. And of course, Wednesday, Endymion's Gate, right?
Yes, which is also on the YouTube. They have the video on demands on there too.
Absolutely. Also, happy Mother's Day. We didn't say that. Happy birthday, Happy birthday, Marisha. Happy Mother's Day to everybody that makes birthdays possible. And with that being said, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks.